And now, how to beat the high cost of gas with President Bush.
The other night, Sarah Palin talked about a bunch of stuff. I couldn't really tell you what most of it was because she's so hot. But she did say something about powering our homes and factories with natural gas. Do you guys know about this? Apparently, gas that occurs naturally can be converted to electricity. Or so they claim. Let's test it. Right now, I am putting a light bulb in a very special place. And let's just see if this works. No, nothing. The light bulb did not light up. Well, let me sit down here and see if I can come it. Oh, I forgot to take the light bulb out.
This has been How to Beat the High Cost of Gas with President Bush.
Well, hello again and welcome to Mark Mosley Show. To quote the Bible, there is nothing new under the sun. That's why we played that little comedy sketch from September of 2008, just to put today's crisis in perspective. No, in fact, it was Ecclesiastes 1:9 that says, what has been will be again. What has been done will be done again. There is nothing new under the sun. And yeah, back when President Bush was having his own battles with the price of gas, according to the media, due to the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, actually, that was the secondary cause of high gas prices. But that was the narrative that the media spit out. History tells us that it was primarily caused by a combination of low production and high global demand, the scaling up of China and India's economic engines. What was the average price of gas, by the way, in July of 2008? It was $4.06 a gallon. What's the average price of gas today? $4.09 a gallon, about the same. And for further context, what's the highest gas price during this second Trump administration? $4.50 a gallon. The historic high gas price of all time was during the Joe Biden administration. $5.03 a gallon during the summer of 2022. The media, of course, is trying to make this a thing now because gas prices had been coming down during the lull between actions with Iran. And Trump was out there going, gas prices are coming down. They're coming down very, very quickly and very bigly. And they're amazing and they're fantastic. You know, doing the whole thing that he always does. And of course, when they go back up, the media tries to make it a thing. Here's a headline that says gas just hit $4 a gallon again. Is this the new normal? U.S. average gasoline prices climbed back above $4 per gallon in mid-July 2026 after briefly dipping below that level during a temporary pause during that temporary U.S.-Iran ceasefire. The rebound was driven by renewed military strikes and an escalating conflict, which raised fears of prolonged disruptions to oil shipping through the Strait of Hormuz and strained global refining capacity. Prices had already surged earlier in the year, peaking above $4.50 a gallon back in May, amid the initial outbreak of hostilities. While crude oil prices fluctuated, gasoline at the pump remained stubbornly high due to tight inventories, reduced Russian refining output, Russia being a little busy right now, getting their clocks cleaned by that tiny little country, Ukraine, and strong summer demand. So those are the factors that we're dealing with. But the article questions whether $4 or higher gas is becoming the new normal. Honestly, no one can truly predict future gas prices because to do so, you're going to have some kind of time machine or crystal ball because it's just based on so many fluctuating factors around the world, be it hurricane season and how bad it's going to be and what that's going to do to oil production in the Gulf of Mexico and how quickly some global conflicts will be resolved. Are Ukraine and Russia ever going to stop, beating each other's brains out and just grinding up soldiers and people in Russia now are being, I think in Russia and Ukraine are just being young men just being dragged off the streets almost literally. And here's a gun and a helmet. You must go fight whether you want to or not. That's such a stupid, tragic war. But articles like these are really dumb because, you might as well just go on Kalshi now and put your money down on the day that Jesus returns. I mean, you'd have just as much luck as trying to predict what the price of gas is going to be by the time the midterms roll around in November. But let's look back again at the cause of Bush's gas spike in 2008. It was due to 4 major factors. Just to put historical context on what we're going through right now, lest the media, convince you that the sky is falling again. In 2008, surging global demand due to rapid economic growth in China and India drove a large increase in oil consumption. Meanwhile, stagnant world oil production and low spare capacity, global production failed to keep up with demand. Mature fields were being phased out in the North Sea, in Mexico, and in parts of the United States. And OPEC had limited ability to quickly ramp up output. The weaker U.S. dollar in 2008. Oil is priced in dollars, and a depreciating dollar makes oil more expensive in dollar terms. And financial market activity and speculation, of course, is always a factor. Large inflows of of investment money into oil futures and commodities markets add upward pressure and increase price volatility. So who knows? But now Trump is the one who is giving us very helpful gas tips. Take a look.
And now, how to beat the high cost of gas with President Trump.
Folks, gas is high, very high. People are saying $4. I say it's a disaster, and we need to save money, tremendous money. So here is a great tip from your president. Take the weight out of your car. Every pound you remove, the car goes further. It's science. Beautiful, beautiful science. So look around your car. What do you see? Cup holders, floor mats, and your mother-in-law. There she sits, heavy, always heavy, talking, complaining, needling even, taking up space, taking up gas, and let's be honest, nobody needs that kind of weight. So the next time you're driving a very nice road, little embankment on the side, you just open the door, you give her a little shove, a little kick. Not a mean shove, a helpful shove, and out she goes. Maybe she bounces a couple of times down the embankment, very athletic for a woman her age, actually. And the car is instantly lighter, more fuel efficient. You're saving gas, you're saving money, and let's be honest, it's deeply, deeply satisfying. Now, some people will say, that's illegal, wrong, I'm the president, I have total immunity, and I give that immunity to you. Just tell the judge your president told you to push your mother-in-law out of the car in rush hour traffic to save America.
This has been How to Beat the High Cost of Gas with President Trump.
You're watching Mark Mosley Show. Thank you for following the show on X. Our new X account is at Mark Mosley Show. It's also at Mark Mosley Show on YouTube. If you would please subscribe, give us a thumbs up, ask questions, interact with the show. There are comments, leave a comment, reply to a comment. All of those things that you do help make the show more viral. And I'd appreciate that. And tell a friend, share the show with a friend. By the way, none of this right now is hurting Trump's popularity with the MAGA base. And I don't even like to use the term MAGA anymore because we've allowed the liberals to make it a pejorative now. MAGA is like a swear word for the left. But check out what the MAGA base thinks. Check out this headline I found on AOL. Stunning poll shows Trump's approval within GOP the highest of any president this century. There's the headline. President Trump is posting the strongest within-party approval of any president this century, just meaning since 2000. It's not like 100 years ago. Numbers show Trump at 83% approval among Republicans, topping both Barack Obama and George W. Bush. Bush shown at 78%. Obama, his highest approval was 76% during his 2 terms. According to CNN data, That stands out, giving polling less than a week ago that pointed to softness with independents on the economy. A Politics Plus survey found independent voters currently prefer former President Joe Biden's economy to Trump's, which to me is baffling. But I would say, after thinking about this for a little bit, that maybe it has to do with managing expectations. Biden told us to suck it up. Trump tells you things are going to be great. And I think that could be a factor here. The poll also found that Democrats and Republicans were 50-50 split on which leader has a better handle on economic policy. The story says it comes after worried Americans cited something is wrong as alarming new photos of Trump emerged online. So then they just quickly pivot to something that's totally unrelated to it. But before we go there, let's explore this argument a little deeper about expectations. I think that there is a solid argument that expectations shape how people perceive their current economic positions. If you constantly, we all know the psychology, and I've seen a million Instagram videos about psychologists now telling us to rewire our brains. Don't get up in the morning and say, my life sucks. This is wrong. That's wrong. I have no money. My dog died. My mom hates me. You get up in the morning and you thank God for all of your blessings. You speak positivity, and psychologists tell you it rewires your brain over time to begin to see the world in a more positive light. So psychological and economic research has long shown that people don't evaluate prices, wages, or living standards in absolute terms. They judge them relative to what they expect or what they've recently experienced. When prices fall faster than anticipated, rather when they rise faster than you thought they should, the pain feels sharper. When the rise is framed as the new normal, people adjust their baseline and they stop treating it as a crisis, even if the higher level still hurts. So during the high inflation period of 2021 to 2023, how quickly we forget how bad things were during Biden, many officials and economists and media voices did describe those high grocery prices and those energy prices as the new normal, or something that Americans are just going to have to learn to live with. Remember? Now, that framing can influence people in two directions at once. It can reduce the sense of urgency or political outrage by lowering our expectations. At the same time, it can breed resentment among people who feel that they're being told to stop noticing the hit to their household budget. And the same thing works in reverse. If people enter a new administration, if Trump's running around telling you how great things are going to be, it's kind of like a guy telling you how good he's going to be in bed. And if he oversells it, or a movie, they tell you, oh, this movie is the best movie you've ever seen. You go in with high expectations, and then you're let down because it's not the greatest movie ever made. But so maybe, I don't know, maybe the message for Trump is not to go around saying things all the time like, it's so great, it's going to be fantastic. Maybe he should change his message to, folks, things suck, get used to it, stop complaining. That's what Biden's people did. You remember all those pieces managing your expectations on behalf of Sleepy Joe Biden, who was off on another one of his 4-day weekends while you were at the grocery store trying to figure out how to buy kale? A clear example of that tone came from economist Claudia Sahm, who was frequently quoted and appearing in media during the Biden years. In interviews and commentary, including a widely discussed 2024 Slate piece looking back at the period, Sahm pushed back against the common voter desire for prices to return to pre-2021 levels. She essentially argued that Americans needed to adjust their expectations. A lot of people have this feeling, well, until prices go down, I'm not going to be happy. And you really want to be careful what you wish for. The only time prices go down in a broad way is during the Great Depression, and we don't want that. The framing was that higher price level was effectively your new baseline, and that wages over time will probably catch up, and actually rolling back grocery and other prices was unrealistic or dangerous. And that was everywhere. That kind of argument, telling people that their frustration with permanently high grocery and gas prices was misplaced or economically naive, was just pervasive. So I ask again, independents, think about your position here. Do you think Biden's economy was really better, or is the messaging that Trump's doing not managing your expectations? Now let's go back and click on that little piece of clickbait. The headline, Donald Trump health concerns grow as new photo shows something is wrong with the president. This is from the U.S. version of the UK's The Mirror. The story says, a new photo of President Donald Trump has been shared on social media showing the 80-year-old, keep that in mind, looking particularly tired with a blank expression and a visible purple lesion on his hand. Again with the thing on his hand. They are going to ride that pony until it crosses the finish line. We're putting all our hopes on the lesion on Trump's hand, just going out of control and his whole body becoming gangrenous. Many people question that there's something wrong with the president. The image posted on X by U.S. media figure Keith Edwards, depicting Trump appearing notably fatigued with a vacant look. Edwards captioned it, quote, Trump was unaware this picture was being taken. His hand has a visible purple lesion. Tell us something we don't know. He's not wearing makeup. He appears feeble, scared, and lost. Oh, yeah. Sell it, buddy. Sell it. There is something wrong with the president. Social media users on X commented on the president's apparently concerning appearance, with one individual stating he should be in the hospital, not in the White House. Fingers crossed. The development follows an incident where Trump's granddaughter, Kai, 19, inadvertently disclosed another troubling health indicator that followers noticed in a small detail on her Instagram photograph. Analyzing the recent Trump image, another commentator observed, can we talk about how he's had at least one stroke? Look at the right side of his face. He's also having issues with his right arm and his right leg. So, during a recent broadcast interview on CNBC, numerous viewers remarked that the president's face looked swollen and he appeared extremely unhealthy. Journalist in air quotes, journalist Aaron Rupar posted clips from the interview and remarked, Trump's face looks very swollen. But then this guy comes along and says his face looks gaunt. So which is it, guys? Come on, let's get it together. Why don't you guys email each other and let's get our narrative straight? Here's the supposedly shocking photo in question of Trump that has them all so very terribly, terribly concerned about him. There you go. That's what they've got. The president looks like he's lost some weight, which they have been screaming for him to do for years now. And we all know that when you are older and you've got some weight on you, that you actually look better because the skin on your face is not all loose and saggy. It's why I maintain a healthy... that's it. Yeah, that's why I'm overweight, to look better on camera. But Trump is 80. Come on. The left is just constantly on Trump-Deathwatch now. You know, Joe Biden was fine. Nothing to see here. But Trump, oh my goodness, what is wrong with Trump? Welcome back to Trump-Deathwatch. I'm Ron Burgundy. We begin tonight with the story America cannot look away from. The ongoing Trump-Deathwatch. At 80 years and 39 days old, President Donald Trump remains, according to our medical desk, technically alive, but sources close to the situation say the nation is on high alert. Earlier this week, the president was seen walking down a ramp. He completed the walk. Analysts are calling it defiant. Dr. Leonard Finkelstein of the Institute for Premature Presidential Obituaries joins us now. Doctor, what is going on with the president?
Well, Ron, the president is not doing well. At this age, every sneeze is a potential succession crisis. We've counted 3 visible sips of water in the last 48 hours. That is either excellent hydration or the beginning of the end. We just don't know.
And what about his skin, doctor?
Well, the skin is still orange, very orange. The hair is still defiantly aloft. We believe that the hair is now actively keeping his body upright through sheer willpower, Ron.
And what do you say to people who tell us that that there's nothing to see here, that the president's just fine?
Well, I would tell them to shut up and sit down, and we'll tell you what you should be thinking. Don't try to think on your own there at home.
Well, thank you, doctor, and we'll continue to monitor every cough, every stumble, every late-night Truth Social post for signs of the impending end. This is our continuous Trump-Deathwatch coverage. We'll be right back, unless something happens, in which case we will actually cut into the Pfizer COVID vaccine commercials to bring you our very latest on the Trump-Deathwatch.
I'm endorsing Graham Plattner for Senate in Maine. Graham Plattner has the grit to go against the grain and to fight for what is right. That's the energy, that's the fighting spirit that the Democratic Party needs now more than ever. I'm endorsing Abdul El Sayed for Senate in Michigan. He is the fighter Michigan needs in the Senate. Michiganders deserve a senator who will fight for you.
That's right. I'm Elizabeth Warren, and I'm endorsing Beelzebub for Senate in Wisconsin. He's got the grit and the moxie that we need to take on Trump. So remember, in November, vote for Satan, the one candidate who knows how to question authority like no one else. Yes, Satan for Senate. And remember, he'll never, ever, ever lie to you.
She's something, ain't she? Boy, I'll tell you. And the hits just keep on coming with Elizabeth Warren. Well, don't feed the bears, kids. Don't feed the bears. I think that is the message here. You know, I thought I had seen it all until this week. Here we are in 2026 with a convicted illegal immigrant murderer, a man who crossed our border illegally, took the life of an innocent Michigan woman, and now this man has the sheer audacity to announce that he is suing President Trump for $75 million. He's demanding a public apology, and get this, we should also throw in U.S. citizenship as part of his little temper tantrum. This is what happens when you feed the bears, kids. It's what happens when you coddle criminals and reward lawbreaking and treat illegal immigrants like they're entitled to the full protection of our Constitution and the privileges of American citizenry. This killer is not a victim. He's a predator. He shouldn't have ever been here in the first place. And now he's trying to manipulate our own legal system against us. I have always said that when America ends, it will be because of the lawyers. It will be because of people that come to our country and use our own laws against us to take us down from within. And we see it in a million different ways, little ways, sometimes imperceptible ways, but this is a classic example. This is the same crowd that have spent years screaming that no human is illegal, while American families are burying their loved ones killed by repeat offenders. This is a guy who should have been in prison, or he should have been deported. Actually, he was deported. He came back in. Now, one of these monsters thinks that he can drag the president of the United States into court for the crime of saying his name on television. Newsflash. Actions have consequences. You came here illegally. You murdered a woman. You don't get to play the victim card when somebody calls you out. Every other country enforces their borders. The country that he came from, Mexico, enforces their southern border. And if Trump were to send this guy back again to Mexico, oh boy, he'd be in a Mexican prison, which is much rougher generally than American ones and often controlled by the cartels. And you don't want to be in one of those. So maybe he should take his punishment, sit down and shut the hell up. And his lawyer, you know who you are, should be ashamed for pulling a stunt like this. Listen to his argument. You know, I always say that any argument that can be made can be made. If you string together just a bunch of absurd rationale, you can cobble together any argument that you want to make. Jesus needs to just ride in on the white horse, just any day now. Listen to this argument. Have we got the sad music ready? Good. Oh, that's perfect. Brandon Ortiz Vite says he was mocked by prison staff and inmates. Quote, I was put into a category. Who I was as a person no longer mattered. What only mattered was my race, my case and immigration status. Once again, it belittled me. It shattered my dignity and what I was as a person. The shame it brought to my family name is a reality I will have to live with. Not shooting your girlfriend multiple times and dumping her body on the side of the road. No, that didn't get you disinvited to your niece's quinceañera. No, it was Trump that brought your shame to your family. He went on to say, I took full responsibility for my actions, but for them to use my case for political gain on TV was unjust. It was humiliating. When I thought it couldn't get any worse, it did. I was center stage in front of a nation, public scrutiny at its finest. Yeah, I know, it sucks. Gosh. Wow. No, it wasn't the murder of your girlfriend and dumping her body, in a ditch that got you disinvited from the family barbecue. It was Trump that brought shame to you. I know, this is terrible. What a terrible tragedy. The Democrat Party was just about to run him as their candidate in Michigan District 7. But then this happened. Darn you, Trump. Don't feed the bears, kids. Oh, some judge. There's some judge out there that will take his side, and I'm betting that in the end, he wins and Trump will have to appeal it on up to the Supreme Court again and waste everybody's time. Well, it's time for Memebusters, because half the stuff you see on Facebook in particular, Instagram too is a close second, but Facebook in particular is just garbage. People will take just an eyedropper full of truth and mix it into a 5-gallon bucket of lies and distortion and go, well, there's your narrative right there. Right there. That looks good to me. Yeah, I'm learning. Here's our meme on this episode of Memebusters. It reads, 95 of the 100 poorest counties in America are in Republican states, and 9 of the 10 poorest states in America are run by Republicans. But tell me again, how are Republican policies good for the economy? Okay. Well, let's break down the meme here. Yes, many of the poorest counties by median household income are in red states, especially in the South and Appalachia. 9 of the 10 poorest states are typically Republican-led. But here's what the meme deliberately ignores. First of all, correlation does not equal causation, because a lot of these areas have been poor for generations, long before modern Republican policies. Factors like low education levels, cyclically, single-parent households, which has grown over the decades, historic economic dependence on agricultural and mining, and cultural issues play a much bigger role than whether your governor is a Republican or Democrat. They've been poor for generations. In other words, long before the parties flipped, man, in the 60s, the parties flipped. Back when the Deep South was deep blue is when they became poor and are now stuck in that vicious cycle. Factor number 2, or context number 2, blue cities in red states. So a lot of the worst performing areas in those red states are Democrat-run cities. Memphis, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Alabama. They have high crime and terrible schools and failed progressive policies. Red states tend to be more rural. When you look at the largest cities in metro areas, blue cities, they often have higher poverty rates, worse homelessness, and bigger inequality gaps. Look at San Francisco and Chicago and Detroit and Baltimore, and on and on and on. In the poorest regions, especially in the rural South, even the small county seats and towns frequently have Democratic mayors or Democratic-leaning local governments, especially in majority black or historically Democratic areas, for example, Mississippi Delta counties, parts of Kentucky, Alabama, and so on. Many of the worst local governance outcomes in these poor counties occur in Democrat-run cities and towns inside those counties. The bottom line here is exact numbers are kind of hard to pin down because small town elections can be nonpartisan and underreported. But the key point counters the meme. The key point is this. While the county may vote Republican at a state and federal level, the local cities and towns where most of the population lives in these poor areas are often run by Democrats, and they have been for decades. So this is a meme that is cherry picking the facts and poverty stats. Go do the research yourself. Just Google this or ask your favorite AI chatbot this. Are there more people living below the poverty line in West Virginia, in the whole state of West Virginia, than there are living below the poverty line in Los Angeles County? Look that up. And I think you will find that the numbers are scary close. Given the size, the area size of West Virginia versus LA County, I think you'll find that there is a denser number of people living below the poverty line in Los Angeles County than there are in West Virginia. And I would say this, if Republican policies are so bad, why is Blue America moving there? Why are they leaving blue states? Because this meme wants you to believe that red equals poor. Big cities, again, the big cities that people are fleeing are places where there is a lot of poverty, and they're going to states that are red. What states are people leaving, and where are they going? They're leaving blue states and going to red states. And I'd like to add just one more comment, and this is personal, and that is that riches don't equal happiness, and lack of riches doesn't equal misery. My dad was one of the most gregarious and lovable men. No, he was the most gregarious and lovable man I've ever met. And he lived his whole life in Southeast Mississippi, making less money than the average Californian. But he had God, he had family, and he had friends, he had people that loved him, and he had jokes. And a man that has all those things is truly rich. See, this meme is created by people who boil life down to what's in your wallet.
At my age, I was looking for hairy growth. Then I heard about Sprouts. That's Sprouts with a Z. I started applying it every day and almost immediately saw hairy growth. So I told my buddy Dan about Sprouts. He's using it too.
Hey Frank, what the heck is it with this Sprouts stuff?
Oh, hey Dan, what's the problem?
What's the problem? That Sprouts stuff you turned me on to has made my life a nightmare.
How so?
How so? Look at this thing on my body.
Oh wow, that is impressive.
I'm deformed. I'm hideous. I can't go to the beach, the gym. My girlfriend dumped me. I thought you said if I used Sprouts, I'd see hair regrowth.
No. Dan, you just misheard me. I said you'd see a hairy growth.
Who would want that?
I think it looks pretty good.
Sprouts. Just to be clear, it's for hairy growth, not hair regrowth. Consult your doctor if the hairy growth starts talking.
Mark Mosley Show continues now with The Science is Settled with Al Gore. Are we going to be talking about global warming again? No. No, I'm actually going to cut you some slack this time, Al. But the point is that science is never settled and that we're always learning new things, right, Al? Oh, shut up. Shut it. You shut up, Mark Mosley. You think you're so stupid. You think you're so smart. Well, I'll tell you who is smart. Giraffes are smart. A recent study from the University of Barcelona, the University of Barcelona, found that giraffes can perform basic addition. This is true. Researchers tested 4 giraffes at Barcelona Zoo using hidden piles of carrots. The animals watched as the carrots were added to containers that they could not see inside of. So the giraffes are watching carrots being put into containers and are keeping track of how many carrots are going into the container. And then they were asked to make a choice as to which container they thought had more carrots in it. So you see, the giraffes are doing math in their head. The test was repeated hundreds of times to establish the trend. The findings suggested that giraffes have more numerical reasoning skills than previously thought, adding them to the list of animals alongside primates and birds capable of keeping track of and combining quantities mentally. It appears that giraffes are actually better at this than your dog. And I know we've all seen the videos where dogs have to pick which plate has the bigger pile of food on it. And they're better at this than horses. Now, here's the twist, and I love this. Researchers did multiple rounds of quantity combination testing with 4 giraffes. 2 of them passed the test with flying colors. The other 2 found a way to cheat. They were able to choose the right container by figuring out over time that it was the last container the researcher touched had more carrots in it. Now, I find that truly clever. They weren't bothering to count necessarily. They were just saying, okay, the last one he touches has more carrots in it. And those giraffes got a note home to their parents. Kiki is very intelligent, but she's lazy and she looks for shortcuts instead of putting the work in. Those are the giraffes I want to hang out with. The ones that figured out the workaround. Speaking of lazy, we are inching closer and closer to being the people on the axiom. That story is coming up. But first, and this is not an ad for Kohler, by the way. Kohler has created a device that straps to your toilet and uses cameras and scanners to give you way too much information about your leavings. It's called the Kohler Dakota. It's a small sensor camera that clips to the rim of your toilet and uses optical sensors and spectroscopy, I think, to analyze stool and urine for gut health, hydration levels, frequency, detection of blood, and consistency shape based on the Bristol stool chart. Yes, that's a thing. I looked this up. The Bristol stool chart. Wait a minute. We need a better British accent then. Oh, let me go to Pat. I'll go to the Patrick Stewart well. The Bristol stool chart is a medical classification system that describes the shape and consistency of poop, which I played in the Emoji Movie. How fitting. It was developed in 1997 by researchers at the University of Bristol in the UK. Doctors and patients use it to talk about bowel habits in a clear, standardized way. Do they by chance also have a shark chart? That's what I want to know. Anyway, Kohler has turned the bathroom into a data center. No, but this seriously, this could change lives. It alerts you to things that you go and tell your doctor. Hey, it said that, or I don't know, maybe the doctor is watching remotely from their office. Who knows? Big Brother is watching you. Look, I know what you're thinking, but don't poo-poo this thing. This is good. Finally, a company that gives a crap. I mean, really, you put this thing on your toilet and you're in the know about what's going on with your body. And the device sits there 24/7. It's always on duty.
Stop it!
I know. Meanwhile, the porta potty is coming. I know we already have porta potties. This is new. This is new. Look at this thing. Look at it. Look at it. This is literally a porta potty. Imagine a robot whose job it is to let you squat on it. Here's the story. Chinese company Yuban unveiled the Xiaoban, which translates to little companion. Yes, little companion. A self-driving robotic toilet. It was debuted at the Shanghai International Aged Care, Assisted Devices and Rehabilitation Medical Expo, or the IACADARME. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to try to say it all together. It drives itself to the user when summoned by voice command or remote control. It uses ultrasonic sensors and AI obstacle avoidance technology, similar to your Roomba, to navigate your home, avoiding obstacles and stairs. It includes built-in warm water bidet and hot air dryer, so you don't need toilet paper. It self-cleans the bowl, seals waste, uses UV light for disinfection, and has odor control systems. After use, it returns to a docking station connected to your home plumbing, empties waste, recharges, and fully sanitizes itself. Some versions use a robotic arm to empty into a regular toilet. It was designed mainly for elderly people and those with limited mobility so they don't have to get up and walk to the bathroom. The price in China, about 28,999 yen, which is about $4,000 US. International availability has not been confirmed. I know, it's for the elderly and the infirm. This just in, Trump orders a little companion for the White House as he's no longer able to move. This is Trump-Deathwatch. No, this is for older folks, and this will be a blessing for people. But how long, and not long, take it from me, how long before people who don't need it will order one, either because they're rich and they have to have all the toys, or because they can't stop gaming long enough to go poop? Because we're all slowly becoming the passengers on the Axiom from WALL-E. I mean, we live in a world now where I get a virtual trophy on my iWatch because I stood up. You won a prize for getting out of your chair. Now, see, stop. You are upright. Here's a badge. That's where we are. I knew she was going to do it again. That's why I paused. But imagine a near future where it slowly becomes socially acceptable to be sitting around with your family and friends. You're over for a visit and you just summon the toilet and you just go right there. Instead of excusing yourself, or imagine you're at a friend's house and you're like, say, where's your bathroom? They go, hang on, and they push a button and it just comes rolling into the room. So there's never a break in the conversation. Oh my gosh. Stick around. There's more coming up. We're going to get into our doofus of the week and end up the show with some good news. Welcome back to Mark Mosley Show on social media at Mark Mosley. Well, on YouTube and X at Mark Mosley Show. Please follow me on Facebook, Instagram at Mark Mosley, and on YouTube and X at Mark Mosley Show. And thanks for subscribing to the show. And again, you can also watch the show on Rumble. Kinda. We're still working on that. Time for the doofus of the week. In Anchorage, Alaska, a bank robber with no other available weapon took it back to the old school. No, I mean the really, keep going. Keep going. Just when you think you've gone back far enough, you haven't.
What did he have? Like a torch or something, Mark? Yeah, bingo. He robbed a bank with a torch. Not even a good one. Not even like an Indiana Jones torch, you know, with the wood and the oil-soaked rag. No. We're talking about a T-shirt wrapped around a rusty metal pole. This is a criminal mastermind. I mean, this is Danny Ocean level genius. I mean, so anyway, this guy, Fred Flintstone over there, storms into the Alaska USA Federal Credit Union, waving his fire stick, you know, yelling, "Me want money, you give money, or me burn bank to ground." Maybe not his exact words, but probably something like that. And here's the best part. Are you ready for this? It worked. It worked. His torch was so intimidating. I don't know, maybe they were just off-put by the novelty of it. The sheer audacity of it, like just give him the bag, just give him the money. Yeah, surprise, surprise, it worked. It actually worked. He walked away with some money. They did eventually track him down, though. Probably when he tried to flee in his foot-powered car. And now let's get into some good news to wrap up the show. In the quiet neighborhoods of Salt Lake City, a mother named Amanda noticed something troubling days before Christmas in 2025. Her 5-year-old daughter, Emma, had developed a rash and swelling on her leg. They went to the pediatrician, and there was good news. It was not leukemia, but the news that followed was not comforting. Further tests revealed that Emma was suffering from aplastic anemia, a rare and serious condition where the bone marrow simply stops producing the blood cells that the body needs to survive. It can strike anybody, any age, and in Emma's case, medication was not going to do it. Doctors said the little girl would need a bone marrow transplant to have a real chance at a normal life. For 2 long months, Amanda and her daughter, Emma, practically lived at the hospital. Emma's 2-year-old baby sister, Lucy, was there a lot to cheer her up and cheer on her big sister. The days dragged on with tests and worries and the heavy shadow of uncertainty. Finally, a suitable bone marrow donor was located. The procedure was scheduled on February 17th. The transplant took place. It was a success, a perfect genetic match, no fear of rejection, and mother and daughter were able to head home on March 11th. Recovery has been gradual, but it's been good. More than 100 days on, there's been no return of the disease, and today Emma and her sister Lisa are closer than ever before, and they always will be. Because that perfect match, that brave donor who kept saying they were going to be strong during every blood draw and every hospital visit, it was none other than that 2-year-old baby sister, Lucy, a toddler who stepped up in perfect love to save her sister's life. Proverbs 17:7 says, "A friend loves at all times, and a brother, or in this case a sister, is born for a time of adversity." Leaving you on a good note. That's the show. Until next time, may God bless you with health, joy, and wisdom.